Right. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our webinar for today. Well, actually, our second webinar today. We're excited that you're joining us here on Zoom and on Facebook. We're going to give families and friends a couple minutes, maybe one more minute to join us. So if you are here on Zoom, and if you have any friends or other family members or students who would like to join the webinar, they can do so here on Zoom or on our Facebook page, UAB Families. And so relax, sit back, and we will have a wonderful presentation by Stacy Rowan, who is the Assistant Director for Fraternity and Sorority Life. And so before we start, and as we allow and invite other family members to join us, just a couple of housekeeping items. You will be able to submit your questions at any moment through the Q&A section, and we will get to those at the very end of the presentation. You may also submit, if you're joining us on Facebook, you may also submit your questions through the comment section on Facebook. So we are excited to have you here. Just as a little commercial, but tomorrow we will be having another webinar tomorrow, the highly expected webinar on living on campus. So if you want to know everything about living on campus, moving day, and all the little details, you may join us tomorrow at 12 on Zoom or on Facebook to the Living on Campus webinar by Housing and Residential Life. If you've missed any of our past webinars, you may also view them. They're recorded on Facebook, and they're also now uploaded on our website, uab.edu/families under the Communications tab under 2025 webinars. So I see some of you are already here, and in lieu of time, we're going to go ahead and get started. And I welcome Stacy Rowan, so she will be our presenter today. So welcome, Stacy.
Thanks, Carmen, and thanks to everyone who is joining us. Happy to have you here and excited to help you learn a little bit more about fraternity and sorority life at UAB. We have a very vibrant community here, and if you have any questions, like Carmen said, I'm happy to answer them here or later on. We have our contact information at the end of the presentation, so don't hesitate to reach out, and we're happy to help you navigate if this is a potentially new experience for you. Maybe you were a member yourself, but happy to help lead you through this experience with your students. So this is your introduction to fraternity and sorority life, or FSL as we call it here. So some benefits of involvement. This is a national overview. If you're unfamiliar with our overall impact of fraternity and sorority life, we have about 9 million total members worldwide. We have about a 70% graduation rate. We serve for about 10 million hours each year out in our communities. And 85% of student leaders on any given campus are affiliated with a fraternity and sorority. So our students are really high achievers, and we're really proud of them. Not just at UAB, which we are very proud of our students, but overall fraternity and sorority members are making a huge impact on their campuses. Now here at UAB, here's some specific information. We have about 1,000 members overall in our 4 councils, which we'll talk about in just a second. So we have a sizable community. I think a lot of people are often surprised at how many members we do have here at UAB. We have 25 total organizations, which we'll talk a little bit more in depth about in just a few slides. And then we have 4 governing councils, which we'll also talk to you more specifically in just a few slides. Our women make up the majority of our members here with over 71%. And here is a breakdown of our councils. So CPH is the abbreviation for our College Panhellenic Council. They make up over 50% of our members. Our National Panhellenic Council, or our Divine Nine, make up about 20% of our members here. Multicultural Greek Council make up about 4%, and our IFC, our Interfraternity Council, is about 26% of our members. So here are our councils. Our Interfraternity Council, which hosts our 7 of our fraternities here on campus. Their average chapter size is 37. In our Multicultural Greek Council, this hosts our non-NPHC culturally based fraternities and sororities, and this is a council with mixed fraternities and sororities. Their average chapter size is 7 members. In NPHC, or our Divine Nine fraternities and sororities, the average chapter size is 15. In our College Panhellenic Council, the average chapter size is 85. And in our College Panhellenic Council, this is only sororities with no cultural basis, just like our Interfraternity Council. The National Panhellenic Council, if you're unfamiliar, is our African American or Black founded fraternities and sororities. And those are, again, a mixed council with fraternities and sororities. So here's our community engagement. A lot of our chapters, most of them, they will require a minimum number of volunteer hours to be performed by each member. They're also going to potentially ask your student to raise money towards a philanthropy cause. So for our service hours, you can see the breakdown by council. All of our organizations are doing really great things for our community members, whether that is locally or nationally. And for service hours, this is the academic year, performed just over 8,500 service hours last academic year and raised over $57,000 to go towards their philanthropy causes. And for our academic engagement, you can see here that we have the spring GPAs that are they're broken down by the council. And then at the bottom, you can see there's a lot of information here, but it's broken down by the all sorority GPA, all fraternity GPA, and our all FSL GPA, which is 3.36. And that is pretty much consistent semester to semester. And then to the right, we have broken down the all undergraduates GPA, women, men, and then the all undergraduates as a whole. So you can see that our community as a whole is achieving much higher, that 3.36, than our all undergraduates are achieving. So we are very proud of the academic commitments of our fraternity and sorority members. All right, so our new members, the individuals who joined in the last academic year, we had 448 join last fall 24 and spring 25. 43% of them were in the College Panhellenic Council, and they achieved an average GPA of 3.43. So again, our community members, very high achieving, and that starts out right from the beginning, a value instilled in them. Interfraternity Council, 19% of our new members joined the Interfraternity Council, 5% joined the Multicultural Greek Council, and 33% joined the National Panhellenic Council. So you can see the average GPAs of the new members off to the right, and know that our community is really promoting academic excellence right from the very beginning. If your student is interested in learning more about the opportunity to join a fraternity and sorority, our very first opportunity as a whole community is our Fraternity and Sorority Expo. That is going to be held on August 27th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And that's going to be held on the campus green. All of our fraternity and sorority organizations will be there, and they're happy to talk to your student about their organization and about the potential opportunity to join them at their event. The first council that we're going to talk to you about today is our National Panhellenic Council. We have 7 active organizations on our campus. As I said, the average chapter size is about 15, and the average new member class size is also about 15. One thing to note about this council is that even though there's average chapter sizes listed here, there is a very wide range of chapter sizes and class sizes. Those class sizes could range from 1 to 85. And chapter sizes again can range from a handful of members to close to 100 members. We have a very large NPHC community on our campus, very active NPHC community. But depending on the organization, the number might be skewed. So average is different kind of depending on the organization. So average is kind of hard to determine specifically for this council because of the wide range of membership numbers in this council. If your student is looking to join an NPHC organization, we encourage them to come to Greek Speak. This is an opportunity for them to learn about joining an organization within the council. We have an opportunity where they can ask anonymous questions due to the nature of the NPHC intake process. We want them to be able to get their questions answered in a discreet way. So the first opportunity for Greek Speak is September 11th. The makeup opportunity is going to be October 6th. Both of these opportunities will happen 5:30 to 8 p.m. in the Hill Student Center. We encourage your student to follow the NPHC Instagram page and the organization's Instagram pages to make sure that they stay up to date on any information pertaining to the organization they're interested in or the council. The second council we're going to talk about is the Multicultural Greek Council, or MGC. We currently have 4 recognized chapters in this council. Different than NPHC, these councils all focus on a different cultural basis. So Delta Epsilon Psi and Sigma Sigma Rho are South Asian organizations, and Sigma Lambda Beta and Sigma Lambda Gamma are Latina multicultural organizations. That being said, and just like NPHC, you don't necessarily have to belong to that culture to be a member of these organizations. But it is important to recognize that they were founded on this cultural basis. We also have an interest group in this council. It is not officially recognized by a national organization just yet, but they are an interest group as they work to build out their membership and structure in order to be recognized by a national organization. So right now, that organization is called Lotus, and they are an Asian interest sorority interest group. And so that is also an opportunity for your student to join as well. The average chapter size for this council is 7, and the average new member class size is 4. If your student is looking to join an MGC organization, we are hosting the MGC kickoff on Thursday, September 4th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Commons Plaza. And this is a great opportunity for your student to talk to all organizations in the MGC Council, to meet individuals and learn about the events that MGC hosts and all the opportunities available to them if MGC is a council that they're considering. In the Interfraternity Council, we have 7 chapters. They're listed here on the left side of the screen. Again, this is a council that does not have a cultural basis. The average chapter size is 38, and the average new member class size is going to depend on the semester here. So that is 10 for the fall, and that's 4 for the spring. So our organizations here in IFC will typically see a more interest in organizations in their fall recruitment period than they do in the spring recruitment period, but a student absolutely can join an IFC fraternity in either semester. So formal recruitment for IFC is taking place September 5th through 13th. And the IFC fraternities host various events throughout this week. They host events like barbecues, and they'll go to Top Golf. They might host a basketball tournament, things like that. And so this offers um, your student and the members of the fraternities opportunities to get to know them sometimes in a more relaxed avenue, and your student absolutely can go to multiple events. So they don't have to be tied to one specific fraternity. If they want to visit all seven, that's absolutely something they can do. This formal recruitment does start out with an opportunity to visit round robin style all seven of the fraternities, and they can start to narrow down from there which of the fraternities they feel a better connection with, if that is how they choose to decide which organization is the best for them. And then finally, we have the College Panhellenic Council. This council is typically referred to just as Panhellenic. We have 6 chapters in this council. The average chapter size is 85, so this is our largest council. You saw that Panhellenic at the beginning of this presentation makes up about 50% of our community. In the fall, we have typical new member class sizes of about 28, and then 5 in the spring. So this is very similar to IFC. There's no cultural basis to Panhellenic. And because our formal recruitment process happens in the fall, that is typically when we see the most members joining. But an individual can join Panhellenic for either semester. So primary recruitment for Panhellenic will happen Tuesday, August 19th through Saturday, August 23rd. Registration is open for Panhellenic. You can find that information on our Instagram or on our website. And I recognize that this is prior to classes starting. So if your student is interested in participating in Panhellenic recruitment, they will be allowed to move in early if they're living in the residence halls. So they'll move in earlier in the day on Tuesday, August 19th. There is information about that on the website. And then we will have them join us later in the evening for a convocation where they will learn additional details about how the week is going to go. In FSL at UAB, we highly value prevention education because we want to keep your students safe. We require all new members of any organization to participate in an educational session that we call FSL 101. The components of FSL 101 include staff introductions so that your student knows who FSL staff are and can use us as a resource if they have any questions or concerns. We do an overview of organizations at UAB so that they know who their peers are in the community. We talk about hazing prevention and how to recognize hazing. And then we have our friends at Wellness Promotion. I'm sure that they either have already done a webinar or will do one soon. And they do a lot of really great work on our campus. And so I highly encourage your student to take advantage of all the great things that they do. But they come in and they partner with us to talk to our students about smoking and vaping, alcohol misuse prevention, and then sexual violence prevention, and how to stay safe with all of the decisions that they're going to come into, they're going to face in college. So for our IFC and Panhellenic organizations, those new members have the opportunity to come to one of 2 times in person. So that's Wednesday, September 17th or Friday, October 3rd. And all of the leadership of those organizations already know these dates. And so once your student joins those organizations, they will know these dates and times. Because of the nature of the NPHC and MGC intake processes, they participate through an asynchronous virtual platform. So they do not come in person. And we work with the presidents of those organizations to make sure that those members are completing this module in a timely manner and getting the relevant information to their educational process. We also recognize Hazing Prevention Week on National Hazing Prevention Week, which this week is September 22nd through 26th. It is always the last week of September. There is a website at the bottom of this slide if you're interested in learning more about National Hazing Prevention Week. All of our chapters are required to send representatives to the events that we host this week. So your child or your student may or may not attend these events, but we always encourage more than they're required to come because this is important information. So every year we have events such as a keynote speaker, we have an anti-hazing pledge signing, we host a documentary viewing and discussion, and we have additional other educational activities so that, again, we can help our students learn how to recognize hazing, how to report, and how to keep themselves and their brothers and sisters safe from hazing activities. So if you would like to support your student through their fraternity and sorority involvement, the first thing that you can do is to review the potential benefits of joining with your students. So help them understand all of the things that they're going to receive. Obviously, friendships. They're going to gain involvement opportunities. They're going to become a leader, and they're going to receive opportunities to be a volunteer at different local entities throughout the Birmingham community. They're going to probably need some guidance about how to balance their time and schedule and about what they should expect in terms of time commitment to their student organization. And this is true of any student organization, but any fraternity or sorority is going to be a time commitment. You can also ask them about how you can get involved in their organization. Many chapters have events or volunteer opportunities for parents and families. It's also important that you and they are aware of the importance of academic achievement, and check in with them often so that you can follow up on their academic progress and make sure that they and you are happy with how they're performing. You can also help them think through risk management situations by you and them being informed about the organizations and UAB's policies and procedures so that they can make informed decisions about, again, all of the things that they're going to be faced with in college. It's also important to ask questions about their membership process so that you can celebrate achievements and successes, but also if you have any concerns that you express those if they should come up. And I do just like to talk about some warning signs of hazing if this is something that a parent or a family member is unfamiliar with, so that if this is something that you do encounter, you know that this might be something that you call attention to. So just so you know, we're clear, these signs don't necessarily mean that a student is being hazed. And of course, this is not an exhaustive list. But if you ever have any concerns, I am happy to connect with you and discuss the situation. And there is the next slide. If you know that hazing is happening, there are many avenues for you to report hazing. And we absolutely encourage you to do so. So if your student is exhausted, or they're telling you that they have not been able to get a lot of sleep, or you're seeing that they're not able to get a lot of sleep. If they're asking you for money, extra money, we know that college students, college, there's the stereotype of, the poor college student, right? But if they're asking you for additional money, or they're telling you that they never have enough money, that might be some cause for concern, something outside of their expected financial commitment. If they're having to do favors for other members, that might be having to do a member's laundry, clean the house or the apartment, clean up after an event, or give rides. If they're being told not to share their experience with anyone, this one can be a little bit tricky because while they should not share their ritual events with anyone, if they're being told to keep everything a secret, that would put up a red flag to me. If they're spending unreasonable amounts of time on their fraternity or sorority commitments, that might be a cause for concern. If they have failing grades or they're not attending class, that one might be something that you ask them about. If they have excessive or increased alcohol use, again, that one might be another cause for concern. Or if they have physical bruises or marks on their body, again. Again, this is not an exhaustive list, and it might be innocent. If they have tripped and fell and they have a bruise, right? That might not be something that is a red flag, but we want to keep your students safe just like you do. And so just always be on the lookout for these kinds of things. So as I said, here is the way to report hazing. We have a good, I think a comprehensive hazing website. We did a lot of work on it this summer with the signing of the Stock Campus hazing federal law. So with that, hazing is now against federal law. It is also against Alabama state law and the Student Code of Conduct. So we have a zero tolerance policy for any type of hazing here. And that's why we take such a big stance against that and want to make sure that you're aware of all of these things. Here are some of the ways that you can report. There's 6 different ways listed here. So again, our phone numbers are here. Our emails are listed towards the end. Again, happy to discuss anything with you because safety is our number one priority here. And here is the contact information, our Instagram handle, if you're not already following us, our email address, fsl@uab.edu, and our website. So uab.edu/FSL will lead you right to our website, and you can learn more about us. We're happy to answer any questions that you might have. And again, please don't hesitate to reach out. Happy to answer anything that you have now or as a follow-up.
Thank you, Stacy. This has been very useful. Again, families, thank you first of all for joining us here on Zoom, and I see some of you on Facebook as well. So if you have any questions at this time, you can place them in the Q&A section, and Stacy will be glad to answer your questions and guide you to the best knowledge of FSL that she has. And if you have any questions afterwards, you can always email Stacy at fsl@uab.edu or send us the email at families.at.uab.edu, and we will be glad to share that email or a question with Stacy. So, Stacy, if someone has never been in a sorority and they're debating whether they should join or not, what would be your advice and what would be the steps this person needs to go, or should they look at different sororities and sometimes they feel obligated? So, what would be the best steps to kind of start that journey?
Yes, I think I would encourage a student to explore all of their options. The joining process is going to depend on which council they're most interested in. And so if someone wants to reach out to me, I'm happy to talk to them more specifically regarding that question. But for anyone who's interested in joining, I would educate yourself about the different councils and about which organizations and council you find yourself most aligned with in terms of your values. These organizations all have stated values and principles, you know, missions, things like that. And fraternities and sororities are a lifelong commitment. And really understanding if this is something that you want to commit yourself to for the rest of your life. Um, that level of commitment can vary by the individual. But once you get into the joining process, really, narrowing down which individuals are living out those values that match your own personal values, and which individuals you find that you want to spend time with, right? Because these are individuals who are going to become your family. We don't use the term, brothers and sisters, just to throw that word around, right? This is a family atmosphere, and these are people who are going to support you on your best days and your worst days. And we really encourage our young students to they're young adults, right? To make informed decisions, and really think about what they want out of their experience.
Awesome, thank you. And again, families, we still have a few more minutes, so if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A section or on the comment section on Facebook. While we wait for questions, are there any last minute thoughts that you would like families to leave families with, or for them to pass on to their students as they start navigating the transition to college and probably maybe exploring the possibility of joining a sorority or a fraternity?
Yeah, I think as students and their families navigate the transition, I think it's important to make sure that that everybody has the support that's in place. And if your student decides not to join a fraternity or sorority, that's okay. We absolutely we highlight involvement in general, right? We want your student to have a support system because just like you, we want them to thrive and we want them to graduate. And so if they decide that a fraternity or sorority is not for them, that is absolutely okay. But we want them to find their community. We want them to find their support system, and that's really what it's all about. So we want them to be successful academically, but we want them also to build their interpersonal skills, and a great way to do that is by getting involved on campus.
Awesome, thank you. And we will be putting the dates that you mentioned in the family calendar. So as you families explore the dates and what's coming and all the different activities and events your students can participate in, or if as you explore those activities so that you can tell your student what's going on campus, that additional support is always helpful. Those dates will be on the family calendar. So as you navigate your transition, your experience in college, please make sure that you visit the Family Hub and the calendar. And again, if you have any questions, please make sure you send them to families@uab.edu. And if they're specific to fraternity and sorority life that we spoke about today, you can send them to Stacy at fsl@uab.edu. So I am not seeing any questions, but I really appreciate everybody who has joined us here and on Facebook. And thank you, Stacy, for sharing all this knowledge about FSLs and all the information that families can now take and pass on to their students and other family members and friends. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We hope to see you tomorrow at noon for the Living on Campus webinar here on Zoom and on Facebook. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you soon. Thank you.